"You got me pregnant, human," alien supermodel happily declares. The Galactic Unity Hall was the largest structure ever built by intelligent life. It floated in open space like a silver crown, surrounded by stars. Inside, thousands of species gathered, each different in shape, color, and movement. Some breathed gas, some glowed. Some spoke with sound, others with light or scent. Today was a special day. It was the opening ceremony of the Interstellar Cultural Exchange, an event watched by more than half the galaxy. This was where species showed their best representatives, hoping to gain respect, trade, and influence. Humanity was still new. Most species saw humans as weak, short lives, soft bodies, no claws, no natural armor. Humans were allowed into the Unity mainly because they were peaceful and curious, not because anyone feared them. The human representative stood quietly near the back. His name was Elias Ward. Elias was not famous. He was not rich. He was not strong. He wore a simple dark suit designed to match Unity standards. His hair was brown. His face was calm. Many aliens passed him without a second glance. That was fine with him. Elias had been chosen for one reason only: he understood people. He listened more than he spoke. He showed respect even when others did not. He did not try to impress. That made him dangerous in a way most aliens did not understand. The lights dimmed. A low hum filled the hall. The announcer's voice echoed through every translator system. "Delegates of the Galactic Unity, we now present the cultural icon of the Orlan Dominion." The room brightened, and the galaxy stopped breathing. Valith Ari stepped onto the platform. She was tall, elegant, and glowing with soft silver-blue light. Her species had smooth, flowing features and eyes like polished crystal. The Orlan were famous across the galaxy for two things: beauty and genetic control. Their bodies were considered perfect. Their reproduction was rare, planned, and tightly regulated. No accidents. No emotions involved. Valith was more than famous. She was a supermodel and ambassador of perfection. Her image appeared on thousands of worlds. Entire species copied Orlan fashion because of her. As she walked, cameras followed. Data feeds exploded. Millions watched in real time. Elias watched too. He had met her before. Weeks earlier, during private cultural sessions, they had spoken often. She asked questions about humans, about music, about laughter, about why humans smiled even when they were afraid. Elias answered honestly. He never touched her without permission, never tried to impress her, never treated her as something rare or superior. He treated her like a person. That was new for her. Valith reached the center of the platform. She smiled, a real smile, not a practiced one. The announcer spoke again. "Valith Ari will now deliver her message to the Unity." Silence filled the hall. Valith raised her hands. Her voice was clear and warm. "Honored delegates," she said, "I stand before you not only as a symbol of my people, but as proof that the galaxy still has much to learn." Many listeners expected a speech about art or fashion. She paused. Then she said words no one expected. "I am pregnant." The translators worked perfectly. The meaning hit instantly. The hall exploded into noise, gasps, flashes of light, shock signals. Some species recoiled in disbelief. Others began rapid data analysis. Pregnancy was rare among Orlan. Unplanned pregnancy was believed to be impossible. Elias felt his chest tighten. He looked at Valith. She was calm, happy. She continued speaking. "My people believed reproduction required strict control, perfect matching, no emotion." She placed one hand gently on her abdomen. "We were wrong." The noise grew louder. Unity security systems activated, scanning for threats. Then Valith said the sentence that shattered history: "The father is human." Silence crashed down like a physical force. Every eye turned. Every sensor locked. Every data system searched one species: human. Elias felt hundreds of stares hit him at once. His heart pounded. He did not move. The announcer tried to speak but failed. Valith turned her gaze slowly directly toward Elias. Her eyes softened. "Him," she said simply. Murmurs spread like wildfire. "This is impossible. Human biology is incompatible. There must be manipulation." "A deception?" Elias stood still, breathing slowly. He remembered Earth training: stay calm, let truth stand. Valith raised her voice. "This is not an accident. It is not an attack, it is not shameful." She straightened, proud. "It is joy." That word confused many translators. Joy was not part of most reproductive models. The human did not force, he did not plan, he did not even expect. She looked back at Elias. "He listened, he cared. He treated me as an equal, not an icon." Data systems struggled to process that. Emotional compatibility was considered irrelevant. Elias finally stepped forward. He bowed slightly, a human sign of respect. "I did not come here to change the galaxy," he said calmly. "I came to understand it." He paused, "and somehow it understood us back." Some delegates reacted with anger, others with fear. A tall insect-like representative spoke sharply. "This violates biological law," Valith answered immediately. "Then perhaps your laws are incomplete." Medical teams requested emergency analysis. Political blocs demanded isolation. The word quarantine appeared in several channels. Elias saw the danger. Humans were weak alone, but humanity had survived worse. He spoke again. No weapons were used, no rules were broken. Only assumptions. The Unity chairperson, an ancient being of light, finally spoke. "This matter will be investigated." Valith nodded. "I welcome it." She smiled again. "For the first time, my species feels hope without control." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, screens went dark. Then the reaction began. On Earth, people stared at the news in shock. On alien worlds, fear mixed with curiosity. And in the quiet space outside the hall, Elias stood beside Valith. "You okay?" he asked softly. She nodded. "Very." She looked at the stars. "Do you know what your people are called now?" Elias shook his head. "Wild variables," she said with a small laugh. He smiled. "Sounds about right." Neither of them knew what would come next, but one thing was already clear. Humanity had just changed the galaxy. The father is human. On Earth, people argued, celebrated, and worried all at once. Some felt pride. Others feared consequences. Humanity had always been careful in the wider galaxy. Now, careful was no longer an option. Inside the Galactic Unity Hall, the mood had changed. What was once celebration had become tension. Elias Ward sat alone in a quiet chamber made of soft blue light. The walls adjusted to his body temperature, a polite but distant comfort. Outside, Unity guards floated silently. Not because Elias was dangerous, but because others might think he was. He folded his hands and waited. Across the hall, in a medical wing guarded by both Orlin and Unity security, Valith Ari rested calmly. Scanning lights moved gently over her body. Alien doctors worked beside human specialists, their tools humming softly. The results confused everyone. The child was healthy, perfectly stable, not forced, not damaged, not a mistake. A miracle, some whispered. A threat, others claimed. A tall, armored delegate from the Koreth Empire slammed a clawed hand onto a glowing table in the Unity Council chamber. "This cannot be allowed," the Koreth growled. "If humans can reproduce where others cannot, they will destabilize galactic order." Another delegate, thin and shimmering, replied sharply, "Or they will improve it." Arguments broke out. Species that ruled through control felt fear. Species that had been ignored felt hope. The word regulation appeared often. So did containment. Elias was summoned. He walked through long halls, aware of the eyes watching him, some full of curiosity, some full of anger, some full of quiet admiration. He entered the council chamber. The room was vast, shaped like a circle so no one stood above another. Light beings hovered. Solid beings sat. Liquid beings flowed in clear vessels. The Unity chairperson spoke. Human Elias Ward, you are at the center of a galactic event. Speak carefully. Elias nodded. I will speak honestly. A delegate from a gene-perfect species leaned forward. Did you plan this outcome? No, Elias answered. Did you seek genetic advantage? No. Did you understand the consequences? Elias paused. Not fully, he said, but neither did you when you first left your homeworlds. The room went quiet. Another voice asked, cold and sharp. Why you? Elias thought for a moment. Because I listened, he said simply. Because I did not see Valeth as an object, a prize, or a symbol. I saw a person. Several translators struggled with that concept. A data-driven species responded. Emotional factors should not affect biological outcomes. Elias met their gaze. Yet they did. Silence followed. Meanwhile, Valeth faced her own trial. Representatives of her own people surrounded her, their expressions tight with fear. You have broken tradition, one said. You risk our genetic purity, another added. Valeth sat upright, calm and strong. I have expanded it, she replied. They showed her data predicting social instability, loss of control, cultural collapse. She listened politely. Then she asked one question. Is the child healthy? Yes, they admitted. Is it harming anyone? No. Then your fear is not science, she said gently. It is habit. That answer spread quickly. Back in the council chamber, something unexpected happened. A small delegation rose together. They were not powerful, not famous, not wealthy, species that had long lived under the shadow of others. A reptilian envoy spoke first. Humans traded with us when no one else would. A gas-based being followed. Humans shared food technology without asking for control. A mechanical intelligence added. Humans treat artificial minds as people. The room shifted. Humanity had not noticed, but they had been watched. The Koreth delegate hissed. You are letting emotion guide policy, the chairperson answered calmly. Emotion already guides it. You simply dislike whose emotion it is. Tension rose further when security reported intercepted communications. A powerful alliance was planning something, not public action, private force. The goal was clear: remove the unborn child for protection and study. Valeth was moved, Elias was warned, humanity was advised to step back. Elias refused. I will not hide, he said, and I will not abandon her. That statement surprised many. Humans were expected to retreat. Instead, Earth sent a message, not a fleet, not a threat, a statement. We stand by our people and by consent. Ships from smaller allied species repositioned, not aggressively but clearly. They formed presence, not blockade. It was enough. The planned seizure was cancelled, publicly at least. Valeth met Elias in a quiet observation chamber. Stars drifted slowly outside the transparent wall. They are afraid, she said softly. So are we, Elias replied. She smiled. But humans still step forward. Elias shrugged. We learned a long time ago that fear doesn't disappear when you run from it. Medical updates continued. The child showed signs of adaptive biology, not dominance, balance. Human and Orlan traits worked together, not against each other. Scientists began to whisper a new theory. Humans were not conquerors, they were connectors. That idea frightened the powerful more than weapons ever could. The Unity chairperson called for a temporary ruling. Humans will not be restricted, nor will they be granted special power. Observation will continue. It was not victory, but it was survival. Elias returned to his chamber exhausted. He sent a short message to Earth. We're still here, standing. The reply came quickly. We always are. Valeth stood alone later, looking at her reflection. She touched her abdomen again, feeling steady warmth. For the first time, her people's future felt open, not controlled. Somewhere far away, old powers planned quietly. But for now, something had shifted. The galaxy had tried to place humanity into a box, and failed, because humans were never meant to fit. They were meant to reach. The galaxy did not calm down. It pretended to. Public messages spoke of patience, research, and unity. Behind closed channels, something else was happening. Fear was turning into planning. Elias Ward felt it in the air. He stood on a viewing platform above the Unity station, watching ships move like slow fireflies against the stars. Some were new arrivals. Some were leaving quietly, too quietly. Humans noticed patterns. They always had. Elias was not a soldier. He had never fired a weapon in space, but he had spent years studying conflict, history, and behavior said one thing clearly. Someone was preparing to act. Valith joined him, her steps light. She had changed since the announcement, not weaker, stronger, more real. "They are smiling more," she said softly, "but trusting less." Elias nodded. "That usually means they think they've found a solution." She looked at him. "And humans," he gave a small smile, "we're talking to everyone they forgot to talk to." That part surprised her. Human diplomats had quietly reached out to minor species, trade partners, and neutral observers, not to form an army, but to share information. Humans believed secrets caused wars. Truth slowed them down. In a deep council chamber far from public eyes, representatives of 5 powerful species gathered. They called themselves the Stability Coalition. Their concern was not the child. It was what the child represented. "If humans can form bonds across genetic limits," one leader said, "then our control systems become meaningless." Another added, "They do not dominate biology, they adapt to it." "That makes them unpredictable," a third said. They agreed on one thing: the situation had to end. Not publicly, cleanly, quietly. The plan was simple. During a routine medical transfer, Valith would be separated. The child would be taken for protection. Elias would be detained. Humanity would be offered apologies and trade compensation. Most species would accept that. Humans would not. The attempt began with silence. Medical transport corridors shifted routes. Security clearances changed without announcement. Unity protocols were used against themselves, but humans noticed something else. The smaller species noticed too. A maintenance drone paused where it should not have. A sensor blinked twice instead of once. A cargo ship delayed departure without reason. A message reached Elias through a non-official channel. "They're moving." Elias did not panic. He acted. He contacted the Unity chairperson directly. "Something is wrong," he said calmly. "If you value neutrality, watch your blind spots." The chairperson hesitated. Then ancient eyes widened. Orders were given, but the coalition moved faster. Security teams entered Valith's medical wing under false authority. Their weapons were not visible, but their intent was clear. Valith stood when they arrived. "No," she said simply. "You do not have authority," one replied. She looked at their symbols. "You have fear," she answered. They advanced, and then everything stopped. The corridor lights changed color. Emergency locks sealed. A calm human voice filled the space. "This corridor is now under joint protection." Human Marines did not appear, neither did fleets. Instead, representatives from 7 minor species stepped into view. Not armed, not threatening, present. Their combined legal authority froze the operation. The coalition team hesitated. In that moment, Elias arrived. He stood beside Valith. "You were going to take something that wasn't yours," he said quietly. "This is for stability," one agent argued. Elias shook his head. "No," he said, "it's for control." The confrontation did not turn violent. It turned public. Data was released. Human analysts and allied species dumped evidence of the coalition's plan into open Unity channels. Every step, every order, every forged clearance. The galaxy watched. The Stability Coalition collapsed under its own secrecy. Trust vanished faster than power ever could. Emergency Council was called. This time, Elias was not alone. Dozens of delegates stood with him. The chairperson spoke with rare anger. "You acted without consent, without unity." The coalition leaders tried to justify themselves. "We were protecting the galaxy." Elias spoke one last time. "You were protecting a system that no longer fits reality." he gestured toward Valeth. And this reality scares you. The ruling was swift. Sanctions, removal from leadership roles, oversight, not destruction, accountability. Afterward, in a quiet chamber, Elias finally let himself breathe. Valeth sat beside him. "They tried to take my future," she said. "And failed," Elias replied. "Because humans are strong?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, because humans ask others to stand with them." Medical reports continued. The child was developing rapidly but peacefully. A balance of traits no scientist had predicted: adaptation without aggression, unity without loss. A new classification appeared in official records: humanity, integrative species. It was not praise. It was recognition. Some feared it, others welcomed it. On Earth, people watched the news quietly this time, less shouting, more thinking. Humanity had been tested, not by war, by temptation to retreat, and they had chosen to stay. Valeth addressed the unity one more time. "My people believed perfection meant control," she said. "Now we understand it means trust." She looked at Elias. "The human did not change me," she continued. "He reminded me." Elias returned to his quarters that night, exhausted but steady. He looked out at the stars. Humanity was still small, still fragile, still underestimated. But now the galaxy knew something important. When pushed into a corner, humans did not explode. They connected. And that scared old powers more than any weapon. Because you could not destroy a bridge. Elias Ward stood outside the chamber, hands clasped behind his back. He had faced councils, threats, and political storms, but nothing felt heavier than this waiting. Valeth Ari lay inside, calm and steady. Her species had once believed birth was a process to be scheduled, measured, and controlled. Now it was something else, something human. The medical lights dimmed softly. A tone sounded clear, stable, final. The door opened. A Unity physician spoke with quiet awe. "The child is born." No cheers filled the station. No broadcasts interrupted the moment. Elias exhaled a breath he did not realize he was holding. Valeth smiled when she saw him. In her arms rested a small being wrapped in adaptive light fabric. The child's features were gentle, balanced, neither fully human nor fully Aurelin, yet unmistakably alive. Healthy, peaceful, connected. "This is our future," Valeth said softly. Elias stepped closer, careful, respectful. "She's beautiful," he said. "She?" he asked gently. Valeth nodded. "She chose." That word traveled far, across medical logs, across cultural records, across minds. Choice. The Unity chairperson arrived shortly after. Ancient light dimmed in humility. "The galaxy is watching," the chairperson said. "What would you have us say?" Valeth looked at Elias. He shook his head. "This isn't about humans," he said, "or Aurelin," he gestured toward the child. "It's about what happens when fear doesn't decide." The broadcast went live, not as an announcement, as an invitation. Across thousands of worlds, beings watched as Valeth spoke, not as a supermodel, not as an icon, but as a mother. "For generations," she said, "we believed control kept us safe, but control only made us small." She held the child closer. "This life exists because no one tried to own it." The camera shifted to Elias. He spoke simply. "Humans have always been afraid," he said. "We just learned early that fear doesn't go away by building walls." The galaxy listened. Not all agreed, but all heard. In the days that followed, something changed. Not dramatically, naturally. Species that had never spoken began to talk. Mixed research teams formed without orders. Cultural exchange programs expanded, not through law but curiosity. The term integrative species gained new meaning. Not a label, a role. Humanity was invited, not commanded, to help. Elias returned to Earth weeks later. No parades, no titles, just quiet respect. He walked through familiar streets, hearing laughter, traffic, arguments, human life in all its messy strength. He received a message from Valeth. "Aurelin law has changed." He smiled. "About time," he replied. The galaxy still had fears. Old powers still watched carefully, but something irreversible had happened. A precedent, a proof. Months later, the Unity reconvened, not to debate humans, to redefine unity. The child named Ari was presented briefly not as a symbol but as a citizen. No experiments, no claims, no ownership, just presence. Ari's biology confirmed what scientists had suspected. She did not dominate systems, she stabilized them. Human adaptability paired with Oralin precision created balance, not superiority. For the first time, evolution looked cooperative. A delegate asked the question many feared. Will there be more? Valith answered calmly. Only where there is trust. That answer satisfied more than any rule. Years passed. Humanity did not rise as conquerors. They rose as connectors. Trade routes became cultural roots. Conflicts softened through shared understanding. Not all wars ended, but fewer began. Human ships were welcomed not because they were powerful, but because they listened. Elias grew older. He refused leadership roles. Instead, he taught diplomats, students, anyone who asked. He taught one lesson above all. Never mistake kindness for weakness, he would say. And never mistake control for strength. Valith became an ambassador, not of beauty but of change. Her people flourished in ways Data had never predicted. Ari grew among many worlds, learning many languages, asking many questions. She once asked Elias something important. Why were they afraid of us? Elias thought carefully. Because we remind them that the future can't be locked, he said. She nodded, satisfied. On the anniversary of first contact, the Unity chairperson recorded a final reflection. Humanity did not bring weapons. They did not bring gods, they brought willingness. The record ended with a single line. The galaxy is stronger when no one stands alone. Far beyond borders, stars burned quietly. Humanity was still small, still fragile, still imperfect. But now, when the galaxy looked at humans, it no longer saw weakness. It saw courage without aggression, strength without domination, connection without chains. And history would remember the moment everything changed, not as a scandal, not as a crisis, but as the day the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest power